All right, let's dive into a concept that has captivated people for thousands of years, but we're going to look at it through a whole new lens. What if life is the ultimate role-playing game? Seriously, just imagine for a second. What if this life you're living right now isn't your first playthrough? What if it's just one of many? A cycle of creating a new character, playing the level, and then starting all over again. So this is the core idea. This ancient concept of samsara can be framed using this RPG analogy. It basically says we're stuck in this loop, not as some kind of punishment, but for two big reasons. First, ignorance. We just don't get the rules of the game. And second, attachment. We can't let go of all the useless junk we've collected along the way. And the final boss? Well, that's awakening, where you finally understand the game so well, you don't have to play anymore. Now, first things first, let's get this straight. This isn't meant to be a terrifying endless loop. Think of it more like an upgrade system. It's a framework designed to help us see why we get stuck in the same old patterns, and, more importantly, how we can actually level up. Okay, so if you're gonna win any game, you have to know the rules, right? So let's get into the core mechanics of how this cosmic RPG actually works. The whole thing runs on 4 key mechanics. First up, ignorance. This is like skipping the tutorial at the start of a new game and then being shocked when you keep losing. You're running around thinking the entire point is to collect coins or get status points, but you're completely missing the real objective. Then there's karma. Think of this as the game's non-stop auto-save feature. Every single thing you do gets logged. Help out another player? You might start the next level with a power-up. Mess with them? Well, you might find yourself starting the next round in a much, much tougher zone. Third, we've got attachment. This is like hoarding useless stuff in your inventory. You're holding on to an old grudge or a past achievement like it's a legendary weapon, but really it's just a rusty old sword that can't beat the new bosses you're facing. And all of that leads to rebirth. When one game ends, the system automatically loads a new character for you, using all the data from your karmic save file to build it. And this brings us to a really, really crucial point. We often have this idea of reincarnation as some fixed, unchanging soul that just hops from one body to the next. But the idea here, which is often called no self, is actually a little different. It's more like your game data, your karma, your habits, all your unresolved quests, is being loaded onto brand new hardware. The stream of consciousness continues, but the player character is completely new each time. So, if life is a game, why do so many of us feel like we're just stuck on the same level, fighting the same monsters over and over? Well, it turns out there are 3 major bugs in the system, or as they're traditionally known, the 3 poisons, and they're what keep players trapped in a loop. To move on, you have to debug your own gameplay. The first bug is greed. It's that endless chase for more money, more followers, more validation. But it's a trap, because you're never actually satisfied. The fix? Mindfulness. Just stopping to ask, do I really need this? The second bug is anger. Another player cuts you off in traffic, and suddenly you're spending your entire gameplay session plotting revenge, which just creates more bad karma. The antidote here is what you could call wise thought. It's like hitting pause, saving your game and only coming back to act when you're calm. And the third, and maybe the biggest bug of all, is delusion. This is the belief that the game itself is reality, that collecting all the in-game items means you've won at life. The antidote is right view. Basically, learning to see the game's source code. Everything is always changing, and there's no fixed you. Okay, so we've looked at the bugs that keep us stuck, but every good game has a strategy guide, right? So let's get to the good part, the ultimate cheat sheet for leveling up and winning this thing. Here's your 4-step game plan to break the cycle. Step 1, see the code. Use that right view we talked about to really understand the game's physics. Everything changes, nothing is permanent. Step 2, clean your save file. This is where you use right action. You actively do good things to plant good karma and overwrite all that old corrupted data. Being kind literally reprograms your future. Step 3, drop useless items. This is all about right mindfulness. You start to see that things like fame, old grudges, and even intense desires are just virtual items in your inventory that are weighing you down. And finally, step 4, max out your focus. This is right concentration or meditation. It's the training you do to sharpen your mind so you can finally clearly see the game's illusion for what it is. Now, just like any massively popular game, this one has a ton of myths and fan theories floating around. So let's bust a few of the most common ones, and then we'll even peek at what advanced gameplay looks like. Okay, myth number 1, and this is a big one, that this is all just fatalism, that you're totally trapped by destiny and have zero control. The truth is the complete opposite. You are the programmer. The choices you're making right now, in this moment, are actively rewriting your save file. You are designing the starting conditions for your next level. You have all the agency. Another one you hear a lot is that this idea makes people passive. Like, why bother? Just give up and hope the next life is better. But that's not it at all. In fact, it's a powerful motivator to upgrade yourself right now. It's a call to action to make real, lasting progress in this life, knowing that every bit of effort you put in today is building a better tomorrow and an even better next run. And the last myth is that the only goal is just to escape the game. Get out, game over. But get this, there's a kind of new game plus mode. The most advanced players, the ones known as Bodhisattvas, they beat the final boss, and then they choose to log back in. They willingly re-enter the game, not because they're stuck, but to act as guides, helping other players figure out the rules so they can win their own levels. And all of this leads to the ultimate paradigm shift. When you stop focusing on just winning the level and instead start trying to understand the code of the game itself, the entire experience transforms. What felt like a prison, a mandatory loop, suddenly becomes this huge, free-to-explore open world. So when you boil it all down, the final takeaway is simple, but it's incredibly powerful. Your actions, your thoughts, your choices right now, they are literally the design tools for your future experiences. You are the architect. So I'll leave you with this thought. If you are the designer, the coder, and the player of your own game, what are you programming for your next level? Starting right now.